Hi! This video and all the previous ones about single moms are all experience-based. They are never meant to be taken as all-encompassing or exhaustive. They are purely, again, based from my own experience. But my prayer is that through them, you may be enlightened and encouraged. Today's video is all about being a former single mom for 10 years and now a wife. The transition phase I went through, the challenges that I experienced and anticipated, and maybe advice for you if you find yourself in a similar situation.
We believe that God blessed us so that we can be a channel of blessings to others.
We made this channel so we can bless other people.
So there's baking, there's cooking, there's working out. There are dogs, our adventures, our travels.
Hi, I'm Mickey.
I'm Bettinna.
And I'm Gummy, and this is
A Blessing Channel! Woo!
Today, I want to talk about the challenges of being a single mom for so long and entering into a relationship and eventually marriage. What it was like for me and how I overcame those challenges. On top of my head, I can think of three in the area of time, a new authority, and priorities. Time, especially if you've been a single parent for so long, let's say a decade like me, and you find someone and you're dating and you enjoy it so much. In short, makalimot ka na may anak ka. So, it was a challenge of self-control to remember na, oh, this person may be a possibility, is a potential mate, but he's not yet a priority. He is not yet a permanent in our lives. So, I had to exercise self-control in terms of the time I spend with that person. And I need to set boundaries na hindi pa siya part ng family namin, hindi ko pa siya asawa. So, hindi ko siya kailangan i-prioritize as if asawa ko siya in terms of time. My tendency to date as if you're childless. Para kang walang anak, para kang walang curfew. You have to remember na may anak ka. So, you have to just set a limit on the amount of time you spend with this person. I suggest for single moms to be wise with your dating. And by that, I mean to involve your child. Isama nyo siya sa activities nyo. I mean, a date doesn't always have to be romantic in the sense na kayong dalawa lang. The purpose of dating is to get to know each other. And you'd also want to get to know the man and how he relates to your child. And you also want to get to know your child, how she relates to a potential daddy. So it's good to do that because it gives you a glimpse, a picture of what your family may look like with this man in this combination. You know, I'm so thankful that from day one talaga yung asawa ko, he knew really what he was getting himself into. Alam niya talaga yung pinapasok niya. And he would always make room for Gummy. He would always consider her, would always think of her, would always want her to join. Minsan may mga times nga dati na parang, pwede bang tayong dalawa naman? Kasi lagi na lang siyang kasama. Parang 10 years na kami magkasama. Pwede bang tayo naman? May ganun akong moments before. But it only showed me how ready this man is for that kind of life. Na talagang yun yung magiging reality namin. So bakit hindi namin subukan kaagad how it will work? The next is the eventual shift in authority. As the only authority in your child's life, now there's someone placed above you and consequently your child also. So syempre, kung sanay kayong mag-ina na kayong dalawa lang, you're used to the one calling the shots, making decisions, ikaw yung may say kaagad sa mga bagay. Now, you have to learn to trust another person to make those decisions for the family. You have to learn to wait. You have to learn to trust their wisdom and their discernment. You need to learn to give your husband the final say. So, syempre, anak ko for 10 years, sanay siya na ako lang. And so, the first 6 months of our marriage, si Gummy, sa akin pa rin yan magtatanong. And ako pa rin nagdi-discipline. But I would always point her to daddy. What did daddy say? Because daddy has the final say. I need to do that ako mismo between me and Mickey and also in front of my child. She needs to see that in anything, even those that don't involve her, even those na hindi naman niya pinapaalam, na makita niya that I always ask my husband. Kasi before, wala naman ako tinatanong talaga. Wala ako ibang kinoconsult. So when you're married, you don't make the decision on your own anymore. You don't decide alone anymore. You need to seek, you need to consult, you need to agree, and you need to submit to your husband's decision kasi siya yung may final say. Now, this can be a challenge if submitting to authorities is a struggle for you, is a challenge for you. Example, hirap kang sumunod sa batas kahit traffic laws. Hirap sa yung sundin yung magulang mo at irespeto yung desisyon nila. Submission naman is really basically respecting respecting the person's decision. There will be some things that you won't agree, but you respect your husband. You respect his decision. And the foundation of that is knowing that it was God who placed your husband above you as an authority from Him. So kung before, parents mo yung God-appointed authority sa'yo, sa buhay mo, it becomes the husband now. And so, what the husband says, ultimately, is what God has to say on that matter. I really suggest na ngayon pa lang, single ka pa lang, hasain mo na yung sarili mo na magpakumbaba at sumunod at mag-submit at irespeto ang mga dapat mo irespeto, the authorities placed in your life. God placed in your life as a single woman. Because in marriage, God said, wives, submit to your husbands in all things. Not some, not most, not sometimes, in all things. So, unless ready kang mag-submit sa lahat, huwag ka muna magpakasal, girl. How was I able to submit to this new authority that God placed in my life? And how was I influencing my child to do the same? Number one, I'm so thankful that my husband is someone I really look up to and respect. I respect him not for his intelligence alone, not just for his wisdom, but because I know he's a man who prayerfully seeks God and what God has to say on things. Hindi nagde-decision yung asawa ko. Unlike me, ako yung minsan rash, minsan depende sa emosyon or impulse. Siya, he pauses and prays and asks God, what do I do in this situation? What do I choose in this situation? And he's very careful in that. And so knowing that he's that kind of a man, that's how he earned my respect. So I know that when there are decisions that needed to be made, I can fully trust my husband because I know that my husband is wise and prayerful and he seeks the Lord and he listens to Him. Above all, alam kong yung asawa ko ay nakikinig sa Diyos. He asks God, Lord, what do I do? And when the Lord answers, and when he knows what God would want him to do, he does it. So I know, I am confident na yung mga desisyon ng asawa ko, walang nilalabag na kalooban o kagustuhan ng Diyos. And even if Mickey was never a father, minsan mas namamangha pa nga ako sa kanya kasi mas wise siya sa akin as a parent. It's because I know he seeks it from the Lord. Next, explaining to my child. Siyempre, bago naman kayo ikasal, kailangan yung pag-usapan to ng anak nyo, kailangan yung ipaalam to sa anak nyo na, hindi lang daddy yung magkakaroon ka, pero asawa ko din. And ano yung design ni God sa family? It's that the husband will be the head of the family. He will be the leader. And so, any decision needs to pass through and be decided on by daddy. I always tell her, ask daddy, what did daddy say? Laging pointing to daddy kasi si daddy yung may final say. And third, I know the challenge for some single moms is their child having to submit to and obey their husband or her new daddy. Siyempre, sanay siya, ikaw lang, kayo lang, diba? But she needs to know na there's a new member of the family and this is his role and we submit to him, we respect his decision. And if your child sees you submit joyfully to your husband, hindi malayo na yun din yung may imbibe, yun din yung kukopyahin ng anak natin, di ba? Kung ano yung minumodel natin, kung ano yung tayo mismo ginagawa natin. And if your child sees and knows and feels that she's really genuinely loved by and cared for by her dad, I don't think mahihirapan siyang magtiwala at sundin itong bagong taong to sa buhay niyo. Kasi alam niya, secure siya, alam niya na totoo yung pinapakita niyang pagmamahal sa kanya. Third is new priorities. Now, if your parenting has been child-centric, medyo matcha-challenge ka dito. Kung sanay yung anak mo na siya yung lagi mong inuuna, siya yung lagi mong unang pinagsisilbihan, siya yung una mong hinahalikan, binibigyan ng pagkain, sinasandukan, I believe we can still be good moms without having to overdo or overgive our attention to our kids. Kasi kung masasanay din sila na at their beck and call nandyan tayo, yung para bang mga alipin tayo, isang tawag lang to the rescue kagad tayo, I don't think that's also good. Hindi natin pinapakita kung anong realidad ng buhay, that life doesn't revolve around us. At hindi rin natin sila binibigyan ng pagkakataon to discover things on their own or to solve problems or at least try to solve their problems on their own kasi nakasalo kagad tayo, nakaharang kagad tayo. Ako nagagawa para hindi sila mahirapan. Pero sa totoo lang, mahirap ang buhay at kailangan natin turuan yung mga anak natin na kayanin ang hirap ng buhay. And now, focusing on them so much is not healthy for me. How do you handle this? Of course, it's open communication with your child. Explain nyo in her gaining a daddy, that also means that mommy also gains a husband. And the husband is a higher priority than the child. Next to God, it's the spouse, then the child. Kailangan ma-verbalize natin to sa mga anak natin para mag-make sense when we drop everything pag dumadating yung asawa natin and we attend to them. I remember a time when nung madalas pang buwibisita yung dad ko sa condo namin. Pag dadating yan ng dinner time, even when I already had yatch, I will stop what I'm doing, I'll meet him at the door, kiss him, tanggalin yung shoes kasi hindi naman kayo ko yung tatay ko, give him his slippers, and prepare his food myself. It was very automatic for me because I grew up seeing my mom do the same to my dad and my lola also with my lolo. And there was a time when naglalaro kami sa floor ni Gami, tapos biglang dumating si Papa and I stopped playing with her and then I stood up and attended to my dad. And then when we had this conversation, nung ino-open up ko na sa kanya, she remembered that time and she said, like that, like when we were playing and then you left me to be with Lolo. And I said, yes, it's like that. Because the wife needs to attend to the husband. I mean, we spend time, the whole day we're together, but when your daddy comes home, mommy needs to be the one to welcome him, prepare his food, and feed him. It doesn't mean na hindi na siya importante o hindi siya kasing importante. But by design, it's just really like that. That the husband is the first priority of the wife after God. And why? Because ganun yung design ni God. Ang design ni God is for the wife to be the helpmate of daddy. That role must be explained to our kids para alam nila yung rationale behind the actions of mommy. Why mommy always need to be with daddy, why mommy needs to be beside daddy, why mommy needs to help, why mommy needs to support daddy. Because God created mommy in such a unique way that there are a lot of things that only she can do for daddy. What advice can I give to single moms or even single ladies who long to be in a relationship and who desire marriage? Number one, make sure that you marry for the right reasons. And that is to serve the Lord better through your union. Make sure that you're marrying not for a savior to get you out of your tiring life as a single mom. Ang asawa ay hindi para lang tagabayad ng bills. Or we don't marry just so that someone can put food on the table or pay for our bills. Or that someone can work so that we don't have to. My advice is for you to really pray for the right heart to marry. Marriage is not an escape, and it can be a lifetime trap if you marry the wrong person for the wrong reasons. Second, more than the capacity of the man to provide, look at his heart for the Lord and his leadership. Can this man lead you? Can this man lead your family? Because ultimately, ang kailangan natin ay spiritual leader. Third, make sure that you are ready to submit. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Submit, submit, submit. Ngayon pa lang, mag-training ka na to submit kung ayaw mong mahirapan once you're married. I recognize that this is a struggle, not just for single moms, but for single women who have been so independent for the most part of their lives. Now, there's an authority placed above you, or there will be an authority placed above you other than your parents. And this person is someone you need to consult with before you make decisions. And this person has the last say on your family decisions. Know that your submission to your husband is unto the Lord. And it also helps and makes submission easier when your husband is a man that you also respect. Fourth, include your family in your dating. Ipakilala mo siya, hayaan mo sila magkakilanlan, and seek your parents' blessing if you're pursuing marriage. You want the confidence knowing that your parents blessed your wedding, that they approve of it, because then you'll know that God has His blessing on it also. And if your parents say no to this man, to this relationship, for whatever reason, whether they make sense or not, honor it. Honor them. Because they are the authorities God placed above your life. Remember, submission to authorities. Fifth, make sure to include your child in the picture and even in your dating. Kahit nakaka-tempt mag-solo at enjoyin lang yung moment na to, na kilig-kilig ka, know that you're not just looking for a spouse, but also a father to your child. And you want to see if this man can be a father to your child. You want to see this man's dynamics with your child. You want to observe if he has genuine care for your child. And katulad nga ng sabi ng asawa ko, special calling yan, yung to be an instant daddy, to be a husband to a single mom. Next, make sure that this man will truly be an addition to your life and to your growth, not financially, but in maturity, spiritually, in your growth in Christ-likeness. Make sure that this man is not someone who will demand time for himself, not want to divide your attention or cause division between you and your child, not someone who will be needy and who would want to take you away from your child, but one who is a multiplier of love, of joy, and of grace. And lastly, if you can, if it's possible, be at peace with all men. Fix your relationships. If you have any loose ends, if you have alitan, hindi pagkakaintindihan or gusto, especially with your parents, I pray that you fix them even before you get into marriage. You know, having a heart that is right before the Lord, having a peaceful heart, one that doesn't carry any grudges or resentment towards anyone else. That will help you have a healthy foundation for your marriage because you won't be carrying baggages in. I mean, we all bring in a part of our past, our hurts and all. Sometimes we don't even know them yet. But if we can not carry unnecessary baggages to our marriage, then let's do that. Kung may kailangan ka i-resolve with your parent, fix it. With family members, with your siblings, fix it. Kasi kung ano yung attitude mo with them, you're most likely to have the same treatment to your husband. You know, it's being emotionally healthy that can help you be spiritually prepared for marriage. How did you know that Mickey was the right one for you? Ito yata ang pinaka-common sa lahat ng tanong. How did you know that he was the right one for you? Ang hirap sabihin kung paano, but I'll give you 5 questions I asked myself that became my basis for my answer. And maybe you can ask yourself the same questions too. First, do we have the same faith, believe in the same God, and submit to the same Bible? Second, is God primary in his life? Third, if so, then what are his attitudes and principles when it comes to time, money, and family? And where is God in there? Fourth, does this person love and accept me like Jesus? In the same way, can I love and accept this person unconditionally like Jesus did for me? And finally, do we have our family's approval and parents' blessing for marriage? I hope that these questions help bring clarity to your mind as you prayerfully discern who to marry. God bless you.